Montreal, Boston, Philadelphia, and the NHL. You're watching the Pucking Around podcast, where we're pucking around and you're finding out. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Pucking Around podcast. We're at episode number 41 already. A lot of stuff has happened in the last 24 hours, or I should say, 72 hours in the NHL. And we're a bit of a cut-down crew here. I'm here with my co-host, Cam Sakarzik. Hey, Cam.
What's going on, buddy? Happy to be here.
Happy
to be the only guy here.
So we'll probably be joined by one of our other co-hosts while the show's running. But what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about some injuries that have happened in the NHL that have implications. Strong implications for their teams. We're going to talk about, I think I'm not supposed to introduce that, am I?
That's fine. Keep going. You're doing a great job there, Daddy Rick.
All right. So we're talking about Drew Doughty, which happened a couple of weeks ago, I think, for LA. And that's a big injury for them. And then Saturday night, Patrik Laine for the Montreal Canadiens gets knocked out with a horrific knee injury, which we don't know the full results yet. So we're going to talk about that. I may scream about that a little bit. I don't know. We're going to do our third installment of the Goalie Tandem rankings, and that's going to be for the Central Division this time. And then we're going to finish up asking the question, is the preseason a necessity? And this question was brought about, I think, by the Patrik Laine injury and injuries before it. But I think that was kind of like the nail and the last nail in the coffin. I can't remember the saying. And people were starting to ask this as soon as the injury happened. So
it was actually asked around the time Drew Doughty was injured, because I think that time some of the NHLers, it was on Twitter. Some people were wondering, is this whole thing a real big necessity? Is preseason even a thing? Should it be a thing? It's just mainly shaking the rust off of people. So it's just a good conversation to have. So we can get into that, when we discuss the injuries too, because I think that will be a good segue kind of into that, and bringing up why it can work.
So let's do that. We'll do though, and then we'll end up with the rankings. How's that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Does that make sense? Because I think, those two are tied in. All right. So you lead off with the Doughty, and I'll lead off with Patrik Laine. How's that? Make sense?
Sounds good to me. I mean, they're two significant injuries, right? I mean, Montreal just got Laine. It was a pretty good deal, I think, for both sides. I think each team got something out of it. Montreal definitely got something more, I think, than they needed at that time. That second line right wing for you guys, but that's not Drew Doughty. I'm going to talk about Drew Doughty. Drew Doughty was one of the first players, major NHLers, that was actually injured during the preseason. It was in a preseason game against the Vegas Golden Knights. It wasn't anything nasty. It was just one of those hockey plays that resulted in an injury. It was him attempting to skate back into the defensive end. He decided to take the body on, I can't remember which Golden Knight it was specifically, but he ended up falling awkwardly. If you look at it, really didn't look much of anything, but he must have got his ankle tied up somewhere. And now, after x-rays and what other, medical things that they did, they confirmed that it's a broken ankle, and he's going to be out missing some significant time. I think they said January is when he could return. But, injuries
4
are
months,
panicking.
I think it was.
So January then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So then, it'll be interesting to kind of see how that plays out. That's their best defenseman on my eyes. I mean, it opens up for Brandt Clark and people in their system to kind of come up. It's $11 million. That's just kind of dead weight at the current moment. So
it's dead weight because they can't really use it because if he comes back.
Yeah, so it's make room. It's definitely well, then you have the rehab time, and everything. So maybe they could stretch it, but I sincerely doubt it. So the Kings are going to be struggling pretty significantly for a while.
Yeah, that's got to have a huge implication, right, on where we thought that they would finish, right? Or let's say like when we do our season,
them.
like our predictions, right? It's got to change where you had the Kings if you had done, you know, the
They
rankings.
might. I think they dropped to a wild card if they weren't already. Maybe a fringe wild card at this point. If that's like, just kind of give a spoiler. Yep. That is who Doughty was for them. He was a huge. It's like the Bruins losing McAvoy for the whole season. Sure, we have other defensemen that kind of help, but you typically always have that one guy, and there is, I believe, no other defenseman like Doughty on LA right now. And I don't think they're deep bad. But
like us losing Matheson, I mean, he's a big part of the team. I know a lot of people kind of complain about him, but it's because he gets so much ice time, and he's the guy that you put out there. I mean, that's Doughty to even a bigger level, but
a leader in the locker room. Not to mention, I mean, if you look at a 2-time Stanley Cup winner, you're losing all that veteran leadership. Maybe not in the locker room because he can always come and talk to the team in between periods, but you're losing it on the ice. You're losing that impact.
But really, in general, guys that are injured like that long term, they don't really hang around the team on a daily basis, travel with the team. So you lose them in the locker room.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you'd lose them in the locker room, I think, in some areas. I think if it's a home game and if it's a close enough distance to travel, they'll go. I mean,
here and there.
It really depends.
It's not the same. That's a big voice in the locker room on a daily basis that's out. Yeah. And, here's a team last year that had that cancer, Pierre-Luc Dubois cancer. I mean, we figured that. And they suffered, their season suffered, I think, because of that. They traded him, and I kind of figured, this is going to give them a bump. And then that happens, and there goes bye bump. And it's got to send them backward.
Oh, easy without him, it for sure. I don't think outside of him, it's Ons Kopitar, maybe Kevin Fiala. They do have some guys there. Hell, I even like who was the gentleman that was on the Montreal Canadiens? It was Philip Deneau, right? I think Phil
Deneau. Yeah,
I believe they still have him. I mean, he's a veteran guy, and
but that's up front, right? Doughty's defenseman. So who replaces him and his minutes? That's a lot of minutes.
It's a big question.
And that's a good amount of offense and toughness.
Yeah,
and I don't know how you replace that in a young kid. Now you could bring in Brant Clark. He could be great. But he's still a young kid, and there's only so much he's going to do, right? He's not going to be Drew Doughty in that first year. So, yeah, it's a huge blow to the Kings. Without a doubt, it's a huge blow. I don't know how they replace it. I don't even know what they do.
They have guys in the form of Joel Edmondson, but he's a bottom pairing guy, but again, a veteran player.
But Edmondson's back is a problem, right? He's missed a lot of time with his back when he was here. Yes. I don't know that you're going to go and say, Edmondson. It might be a plan. I don't know how well that plan works out at the end of the season.
Yeah, they had. And the only other guy I think on there is Vladislav Gavrikov. And again, it's not to take away from these youthful players or anything of that nature, right? It has nothing to speak to that, but a lot of those young guys look up to the older guys to say, if we're down in a rut, someone's got to pick you up, right? And they got to teach you that way. So
I'm just saying though that when you take a talent like Doughty out of your lineup, man, that's hard to replace in a young kid.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know who they go out and reach for because if he's only going to be gone until January, well, you can't really go and replace him in his salary because, as I said before, you got to get rid of that or make space for him when he comes back. So they're handcuffed for the time he's out that way.
A lot of leaning on the goaltender and the forward core and a lot of the two-way forwards there to kind of help them out, bail them out when they can. So, I mean, hopefully
changes game plans. It changes a lot of stuff. So it's got big implications when you lose a player like that. So, do you want to now get to where my blood pressure is probably going to?
Yeah, let's get to Laine. Because that was actually something I agree with you on. That was an intentional.
I got pictures. Do you want to see some pictures?
Keep your pictures to yourself, Rick.
Yeah, no, not those kind. Those are for after. Don't tell anybody.
Family friendly, Rick. Family friendly.
I don't know. Still, I don't know how family friendly, but so here. It's kind of a blurry picture, but you could see that guy drove his knee into him. I don't care. That's not accidental. He drove his knee into him. You can't really see it here. You sort of can, but I mean, he drove the knee in. And knees don't
Yeah,
bend like that. That's not good.
no, he's taking a step into him. Do I think the ultimate goal was for him to injure him like that? No, but I think the intent to move in that direction was there. I think there is a difference between absolute intent to injure and then just
Okay,
he
I
did
know where
stick
you're
his knee
going.
out.
I know where you're going, but I'll say it this way. You may be right. He didn't do that in that split second. He made that decision thinking, I'm going to hurt him. But how in his head, he's been a hockey player for a long time. He knows what he's doing and what the result could be. So I'm sorry. To me, it's a fine line between brutal intent or sort of an accident.
I put it this way: he moved with intention to intercept Laine. So that's
with
the way
his knee.
With his knee, with his legs in his body. Yes.
Yeah.
He moved with the intent to intercept Laine.
Right.
I don't think any player really
later in the game, Laine Hudson, somebody else, not the same guy, another Leaf, tried on Hudson, and Hudson got his knee out of the way because Hudson knows how not to get hit and has been trying to, been doing out his whole. But I mean, two Leafs try to take out our two best. I mean, could be our two best players in the season, at least right up there. And the two players we are all looking most forward to seeing this season.
This is Berube hockey, by the way. While I love Greg Berube as a coach, but this is exactly how the St. Louis Blues won in 2019. They beat the ever-living snot out of you.
Yeah.
And so that's just adds to it. So part of it, I think, is also the coaching in that regard. Like, he wants to be more physical, but when you proc that more, that you want more physicality, you got to be able to coach what is acceptable physicality and what is goonship, right?
Apparently his instructions at the drop of the puck were to hit everything as hard as you can, everything that moves.
Which is
he's asking for that.
Which is not a bad way of approaching it.
I get it.
Because he's saying play hard, play every fight, play everything, play everything.
As clean as possible, though. That's dirty. If and I'm not saying he's encouraging them to play dirty.
No, but when you're a player, message received, right? Hit hard, don't care how. That's how you receive it.
And here's a guy who has probably zero chance to have made the club, trying to make a name for himself somehow, and I'm sure that had something to do with it. And he said it like in English. In English, he said it was an accident. He didn't mean to do it. Blah, blah. In French, he said that he had a job to do. Laine was coming in. He had a lot of pressure on him. He wanted to make, he wanted to be noticed, and he had to stop him.
Yeah,
any way he could.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I'm not going to disagree with it. I think it was a dirty hit. I don't think it's preseason. I don't think you there's other ways that you can showcase your skills and abilities in the form of hitting, in the form of defense, and just being a smart hockey player in the form of your hockey IQ. There's a bunch of ways that you could go about doing that. And I think playing that way in preseason is not a way to earn yourself a roster spot. Maybe with some coaches, maybe in some systems, but I don't think that was a clear-cut way.
Especially when this guy apparently also not on one of, you have 50 contracts you're allowed to have, each team allowed 50 contracts. Yeah. He's not even one of those players. What's he doing in game 4 of the preseason? Shouldn't have been there. Honestly,
I'll put it to you this way: Torrey Krug was an undrafted PTO guy, for Boston, and he made a showcase in preseason. So just think of it that way.
No, okay, but I made in what for our stuff here. I said, unless he's a guy that has a chance to make the team, sure, of course he's supposed to be there. I get that, but not this guy. This guy had no chance to make the team. He's there for one reason, and I don't care. You just confirmed it kind of with saying Berube, that's his style. He's there for one thing. Now, I'm not saying they put him on the ice to do what he did exactly, but that's the result, That's the result.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, what kind of shocked me was that the NHL wasn't going to institute any form of discipline, whether it be a fine or anything on that guy. So what's your standard? But you're going to fine Arbor Jack guy for the response. I'll say this: yes, he did deserve the fine. There's no question about it. With the way you responded, you are going to get fined in that manner. But you're not going to even suggest that supplemental discipline is required for the guy that is doing knee on knee, or the guy that was basically surfacing for Laine Hudson's head, his knee. What's your NHL standard? And the fact that there also was no penalty, called, I believe, on the Leafs player on that. So are we just going to glaze on the Leafs and say, like, it's been long enough, give them a break? Because that's not the standard that I want to have.
Can I complain about two things? But refs were asked what happened. They said they didn't see it. Now, I say this.
Sure.
4 officials, 4 on the ice. They don't have their eye on the puck carrier?
Yeah.
They're not watching the puck carrier. Well, what the fuck are they watching then?
TSN.
Okay, now TSN puts out a thing today about an article about Arbor Jack guy was fined. Was that strong enough for someone who does what he did, basically, right? Not a fucking mention about the dirty play that knocked out Laine, and that he's kind of responding to that.
Is it Sportsnet or is it TSN?
It was TSN that did this.
No, but yes. But was it Sportsnet or TSN that basically has or ownership of the Leafs or are owned by the Leafs?
No, Rogers, which is Sportsnet. They own that, but Rogers just bought, I don't know if it's 31 or 41% of the Leafs. So now, not only do they suck Leaf dick, now they own the dick.
All right. Okay. All right, buddy.
So now they don't have to pay. It started like it used to be, like sort of like, go to the hooker. Well, they bought the hooker now. Like when those rich guys they end up marrying that hooker that they like so much. That's what they just did.
Okay, this isn't the Hangover movie, but I understand.
It's not for families. If you got it, it's not for families tonight.
No. Well, Jesus, Rick. Oh my God. Yeah, sure. Like you're right. You're right. Like it's rough. Like, you can't excuse. But like you said, is it because this guy's a nobody? Doesn't matter. Do something. You harp on players' safety. You harp on that you want to be protective of your players. At what point are you just full of your own shit? Are you actually going to crack down on the referees and put them in front of a mic and just say, we need an answer as to why that wasn't called?
What, like, full of their own shit. About 5 years ago.
And to your point, and people might just say, this is preseason, like, whatever, like injuries. I'm like,
hang on a second. Are you hearing something?
No, are you? Are you hearing ghosts, Rick?
Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, my Twitter just started to play a video.
We're experiencing technical difficulties.
No, it's Rick's just me.
Yeah, it's just you. You're right. It is you.
We're in the middle of a conversation. My Twitter started to play a Kamala Harris video. I'm wondering, what the hell is that? Where's that coming from?
Your Twitter was tweeting?
Elon Musk at work over there.
Okay. Who let you out of the home? Who the fuck let you out of the home this week?
Oh,
I'm talking to those nurses. We're putting you back.
No, I think they're trying to put me in a home. They haven't put me there yet, so I'm out.
You need it. Yeah, you need it. Where even was I? Oh, sorry. Yeah, people were gonna say like it's preseason. Maybe the refs are also warming up or something. There's no excuse.
Bullshit.
I don't just see like when you have 4 guys on the ice and not one of you just can see that. It's like, what are we? The 3 blind mice? I don't understand. Blind zebras? I don't get it. I don't understand this.
Maybe if he wasn't the puck carrier, he was the puck carrier.
I know.
How do they not have? I don't get it.
And it's a Montreal-Toronto game. It's a high. It's it's a high danger game, right? Where there's going to be a lot of blood. There's going to be a lot of emotion, preseason or not. These clubs hate each other. Not maybe in the real sense, but like in terms of the competitive level.
In the real sense. I think
Well,
in the
you
real
you
sense
hate
there.
you hate.
No,
hate Leafs,
I
know that.
honestly think that a lot of the Habs players and a lot of the Leafs players do not like each other because of their Habs and Leafs. I really believe
Okay.
it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's maybe not, they're maybe not as bad as I am, my hatred for the Leafs, but I think that is actually there for some of these players on both sides.
But listen, I don't want to beat this with the dead horse, right? I mean, it was a horrible hit. I thought a suspension or a fine for that guy or something should have happened on the guy that hit Laine. It was clear as day. It's an NHLer that went down. You got to protect your players in some capacity, or you're going to have some accountability on the other side. What are your thoughts on that before we kind of move on to whether or not preseason is a necessity?
I say NHL accountability. I don't know that there is any there. So yeah, you know how I feel about the refs. I'm not gonna, for Cam's sake, I'm not gonna go into my refs.
Whoa, not just for my sake. Hold on. Just not for my sake. I think every other episode we've had last year was Rick having some gripe with someone that made some call. I don't know. Do you just know
refs
an
and
NHL
gambling.
refs
and gambling?
Do you just know like an NHL referee that fucked you over at some point in your life that was not Montreal related? Like
no,
do we know
honestly,
anybody? Like
I've been watching hockey for over 50 years, and I can't tell you there's not one season in all those years where I was happy with the refs. So it's like it's a history, and I get to some extent it's because you know your team, you don't want to see them get penalized, but the refs have gotten worse exponentially over those decades to where now it's a farce.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. You and your years of experience. I need to see your resume, by the way.
I'm 60. I'm gonna be 62. I've been watching hockey since I'm 8.
So then more than okay, fine. 50 plus years of experience.
Yeah.
Just again, I want to see the resume. All right. So
I have one.
Then that. So your resume is just pucking around podcast.
There
and that's
you go.
The title, and that's it.
Yes.
And talking Habs too. Sorry.
Back then, when I was a kid, they didn't have paper to write down resumes. So
they had rocks and a chisel.
Yeah, but over the years, those got broken, and we dropped them a bunch of times.
Oh, so I understand. So that's why the translation on the Rosetta Stone is all fucked up, right?
That's it. Yeah, we used to play with that. Yeah.
You guys used to, a little dreidel.
Oh yeah,
like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Back in the day.
So that brings to the question though, with the two injuries, and they're two significant injuries. People have wondered: is preseason a necessity, or is the length of preseason a necessity? And I guess those are two different questions. Why don't we tackle it as is preseason necessary? One, and if so, what should the length be? Because right now, currently, I believe it's 7. Everyone plays 7 games
or less. You can play less. Like Montreal only playing 6, but because they want to go to Montreal early and take a few days off, so you can play less. I don't know if there's a minimum. Imagine there is, but 7 is, I think, the maximum now.
So then let's just say between 6 and 7 games, because I don't think I've seen players, or I'm sorry, teams play less, and I don't think I've seen them play more than 7. So why don't we go low ball 6, max 7? Is it a necessity in general?
Okay. In my day, because we're talking about my day, right? So players didn't come into camp in shape. They really not. I'll say most players didn't come in, or a lot of them. Right, so they used camp to get into shape. Camp was a lot longer. I think it's like a dozen games or something like that. It seemed a lot longer, and there were a lot more games. Today, players come into camp in shape, and they don't need as much training camp. What they do need, and I think we're both in agreement with this, that yes, training camp is necessary, and I'm fine with 6 games. Even 7, I'm fine with that. I don't think you can really make it less. You kind of, there's a system to it, right? That you have to, till you get to, and you're ready. I don't know how you make it less. So as I said in this here, I'm going to read everybody what I wrote in our show notes. I said, yes, but players that aren't signed to one of the team's 50 roster spots should not be playing past the second preseason game unless they have a legitimate chance to make the team. And that way, that'll cut down on some of these goony guys trying to make a name for themselves a little bit later in camp, and doing what happened there with Laine, because I think that has something to do with it, at least.
I'm on the side of camp and preseason is 100% a necessity. I think it's important to shake off the rust. You don't want your players going into game 1 of the season with, bent out of shape. Not every player stays in shape over the summer. There are quite a few that do. And it's kind of hard for the organization to be like, well, you need to exercise X amount of days because they can't police. There's no ways that they can really police that.
I don't know. I'm going to disagree with you. You want to be an NHL player, you got to stay in shape.
But you know what I mean? They're not going to be skating every day. They're not going to be, going on the treadmill. They're going to eat well. Right. They're going to lift weights, but they're not going to be in peak condition as they would be, prior to
pretty much so. But it's the rust. I think for the rust part, because you get guys in and they start playing games within injuries. You think injuries are bad now? Imagine the injuries without training camp.
Oh, they would be significant. They would be significantly higher.
Yeah, way more than what you have now. So, yeah, I think it's it's the snowflakes for whatever that means, right? People who just can't. I don't have the word for it, but I mean, if you can't handle preseason games, you can't handle the truth.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red? I want the truth? I can't handle it.
Games. You can't handle.
You can't handle preseason games. No, I'm okay. Actually, I'd be okay with reducing the preseason games, but keeping the length of in finger quotations preseason the same, and extending the camp length. So,
okay, but wait a second. And I know game situation, and then in practice, even if you're inter squad, it's not the same.
No, it is not the same.
They need games to get back into that headspace again, I think.
But
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did.
But most of the time for NHL rosters, there are only a few spots that are open. So you don't need to give every fucking rookie a damn look.
So but you do need a certain number of games to sort of weed through it. Plus, remember, camps are not just for preparation for the season. It's a bit of evaluation of younger players.
You're right. It's
you
a showcase.
You kind of need 2 games to put those guys in that situation so you can evaluate for down the road. So that's why I think 6 games. I don't see how you go lower than that. Personally,
I think you could get away with 4. With the combination of NHL ready players, because like I said, Rick, most of the time there are only 1 or 2 spots on a team, or 2, maybe 3 at most, that are available that people are going to fight for. There's no way the 30 people or the 18 people that you invited to training camp are really going to outplay so many other players. You have top prospects. You have, the players that have played in the AHL affiliate teams that you want to give a look at, that have impressed, and that, your staff and your affiliate have come up and say, hey, listen, this guy has performed, give him a look on the line. There's ways that you can manipulate it. And that way it also gives the NHLers, some practice with these guys as well. It forms, I think, better chemistry rather than just sticking the AHL players, and then putting them against a roster in preseason that's 60% NHL, 70% NHL players. Okay, I think there needs to be a better structure.
But it's more than that. It's a little more than that, though. And I've seen many stories where they'll tell you that it's not most of these guys aren't going to make it, but it's that experience for the younger players going forward that can take a guy that might not have made it in the NHL, and actually you got an NHL player there just from that experience of getting a couple of games here and there, and this season, next season, or whatever. It makes a difference. And the games that you'd cut out would be those games where those young players get a little NHL look.
I don't think so. Then I think what you could do then is for the first 2 games, it's predominantly the young guns. And then the final 2 games, you cut to the roster of who impressed you the most, those 2 to 3 guys. And then you slot them in the next 2 games with the NHLers that you suspect that they would play with. And then you evaluate them the full 4. and then pick from there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me having a high order structure. I think that would protect the players a little bit more. It gives 3 less games for an injury to potentially occur. And your training camp length is still the same, so they can still practice with those NHLers and gain experience that way and basically hear from their stories.
I don't think it's enough games because then it ends up you're getting 2 games and then you're in a season action. I don't know. I don't really like that because even out of the 6 or 7, most getting 4 games maybe.
I'll put it to you this way: Pasternak's only played 1 preseason game so far. He's likely only going to play another one.
But that,
like, you know what I mean?
You don't know. It could be physical, and they got to ease him in. They don't want to overtax him there's reasons why guys might not play as many games. It doesn't mean that they're not important. That's my point.
I guess I can agree to disagree.
I don't think 6 games is that many. Like I said, I mean that's at least half of what they used to play when I was young.
I think it's a way to expedite the process.
No, I get it, but I think in expediting the process, you could actually be raising injuries, not lowering them. I really believe that.
Maybe. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you guys think of that. In the comments section. Whether preseason, subscribe,
and share. Hey, share
and share us. Yeah. You share us, we share you. Anyway,
you said I was bad before.
You see, you lost me. You screwed me up, man. Oh, and he's gone.
And he's gone.
He's like the fucking ghost dude. He's gonna come in and out.
It's new computer. Crazy. He's got a new computer. He's having new computer issues. I bet you anything that's what it is.
Oh, man. Anyway, tell us what you guys think about preseason, whether or not it's a necessity. Would you guys keep it the same length? Would you guys decrease it? Would you guys increase it? What are you guys' thoughts? Let us know in the comment section. And then, we'll let you know whether we think you're wrong. Or you can yell at us. It'll be a fun conversation. That being said, let's get to tonight's main topic, our continuation of the goalie tandem rankings by division. Last week, we went over the Metro, and the week before that, we went over the Atlantic Division. Tonight, we're going to look at the Central Division. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we've done before, and what we've done before, we've listed the teams in order of how they finished in the standings last year. It is not necessarily representative of where we're putting them in the rankings. We're just going to go in order of last year's NHL standings for each team, and then as we mentioned them, we're just going to list where we rank them in terms of goalie tandem standings and reasons why.
And for this one, we'll actually have more than just me and Cam because we have Vogel, who's out sick tonight. We have his picks, not his reasoning, but his picks. So we have that. And if Matt might want to just not have his camera on and have his microphone on, and he can he can still talk to us, we can try that. But other than that, let's get going.
Cool. Let's start with Dallas. They finished first, obviously, last year in the Central Division. Their goalie tandem is Jake Ottinger and Casey DeSmith. I have them first.
Yes, so do I.
Cool.
Reasoning.
I think Ottinger, number one, is a probably top 10 goalie in the NHL easily. Maybe I would actually stretch that to top 7. And Casey DeSmith is not a bad backup. He was in a bad situation in Pittsburgh. And I believe then he went to I think he was in Seattle.
No, he came to us. Didn't he come to Montreal in that trade where we got Jeff Petrie? Then he never played for Montreal. I think he Vancouver.
It was Vancouver, I think, where he was. And then I think Vancouver must have sent him elsewhere.
Vancouver. Yeah, was with Vancouver last year, got injured in the playoffs. And now I guess his contract was up. So he signed with, I'm assuming he signed with Pittsburgh. No, not Pittsburgh.
No, Dallas. I don't think he's a bad backup goaltender. I think that's exactly where he is. He's a backup. I think it's pretty solid for him, especially with the way that defense is shaping out to be. And like I said in the previous episodes, that's how I'm gauging these rankings. I'm looking at everything as a whole, because that's all going to impact that tandem. So I think Dallas itself is just a very well-rounded team, and that's going to end up helping out not only Ottinger, who will play the majority of the time. He'll get 50 to 55 games, and DeSmith will get the remaining. That's my reasoning. I think the team as a whole is well built.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Ottinger, again, definitely, I don't know if top 7, but definitely top 10, if not better, goalie. And DeSmith, I think, is a capable backup. I don't think you want to run with him as a starter for long if you have an injury to Ottinger, but as a backup who gets, say about 25 games, I think, with the team that's in front of him, I think he's going to be do fine. He's a little on the old side. I think he's like 34, 35 now. But, I mean, for a backup, that's not a problem, right? So with the good team in front of him, I have him in first. I did a poll, or I guess a poll kind of thing, in one of my live stream chats. The chat had them in second.
That's an interesting one. By the way, Casey DeSmith is 33 years old.
33, okay.
I wouldn't put. I'm surprised that they put Dallas in second. That's actually where Vogel has them at 3, and I think that's a little low.
I do too. Yeah.
I don't think the teams that he has above them are better, and I think, like I said, that team factor is going to factor in.
You maybe could argue Winnipeg, because how last few seasons they've said Hellebuck is the best goalie in the league, right? So maybe you can argue that, but
Hellebuck is not the best goalie in the league.
I didn't say I said that. I said it's been said the last 2 or 3 seasons he's the best goalie in the league. So you might argue, but I mean, other than that, no, I agree. I think Dallas there is definitely the best tandem. And if we could, we'd give you Matt's, but Matt's still having technical issues.
No, I'm not.
No,
there she
is.
There she is.
There she is.
Brand spanking new
Miss
camera, brand spanking new computer. I love it.
You need a brand spanking new mic, because that thing is so loud in my ears. It's echoing, buddy. Looking good tonight. Looking cute, like that beard. No response.
You can actually see him properly.
No, I try to fix the mic. Hold on. I'm trying to fix the volume a little. Okay, how's that?
He's just trying to fix the volume a little. Where do you have Dallas?
Oh, Dallas! Just Ottinger alone, I have Dallas as probably the top tandem in that division. I think Jake Ottinger alone puts him there. DeSmith is a capable backup, but I mean, I think Jake Ottinger's top 5 goalie, if not top 3 goalie in the league right now. Easy.
There you go. Well, so you take a goalie like that, you give him a capable backup, and that's a hell of a tandem.
Yeah,
I have him top 7. I don't know if I'm going to say top 5 yet. Maybe.
No, I think Ottinger's that good.
I think he will be. I don't think, like, right now. I think I need this season to solidify it for me. I think that's what I need. I just think I needed this season for him to do it.
No, look, that's fair. I think that's fair.
It's the same thing for me with Swayman. I think he'll be a top 5, but right now I think top 10. So, but we'll see.
I think he's close to the top 5. That'd be a fun topic to get into if you guys haven't gotten into that yet.
We're not going to bring it up. We're not going to get into it, because that's going to put me into espresso depresso mode.
We're not going there tonight.
We're not going there. Cam had a good day. He woke up, had a nice breakfast, went to work, had a good day at work, came home, did some school work, and now I'm doing a podcast. Don't fuck with me tonight. Going on to Winnipeg, finished second in the division last year. Did pretty well. Actually, we didn't know where they were going to be, but they kind of climbed a bit, right? I think we kind of questioned them in the beginning of last year, and then they kind of got it together. I have them at second, and I think it's carried like Matt had it with Dallas. I think it's largely carried by Hellebuck, but I'm not going to say Kaapo Kakkonen is a bad goalie, but I do have some questions on Winnipeg's team as a whole. That's kind of like my.
I think that's totally fair. I'm with you. I think again, is Connor Hellebuck the best goalie in the league? No, but I definitely do think he deserves to be mentioned in that top 6, top 5. I think he's been pretty consistent. Obviously, he won a Vezina. He definitely carries that tandem, but no, I agree. Like I don't think Capo Kakinen's a bad backup, but yeah, as a whole, there are question marks throughout that lineup.
Okay, for me, I think that, as Cam said, that team might have some question marks now because they lost some good players from last season, right?
They did.
So there's some stuff missing there. I also wonder with the way that team kind of melted down in the postseason, right? They had a horrible first round, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got their ass.
And Hellebuck was hella bad. So for me, I've got them in third, and I'm thinking it's because I wonder what Hellebuck we're going to get this season. Does that performance in the playoffs last year affect them at all this year? And with the team not as good in front of them, yeah, I'm putting them in third. Not all the way down, but they drop a little bit for me.
This will make you shit your pants. Vogel has him at 1. I don't know why.
I know. We call him up. Tell him we gotta have.
I'm gonna call his yuking ass up. I'm surprised he's probably not in backstage just watching with a bucket near his head and just being like, you know what? He'll just be like, "Fuck you guys."
Reasoning.
When he's gonna be watching this tomorrow, we're gonna absolutely get shat on in the chat that we have, and he's just gonna be like, "You know what, guys? I put all my effort into this, and I'm a people person, so therefore you guys are wrong. Fuck you."
And fuck Ken Johnson.
And by the way, fuck Ken Johnson.
Yeah,
he's not a Ken Johnson guy, apparently.
He's definitely not anymore.
Definitely
anyway.
not.
Not anymore.
I'm a Ken Johnson guy. I'm a huge Ken Johnson fan. I do. I actually think he's going to be good. That's just a side tangent. So sorry, Ken Johnson. I don't know why Vogel hates you.
Inadvertently. He was forced into it. He was forced into it, sort of.
He was peer pressured into it. Blames me for it. So you don't blame me for everything. That's okay.
There you go.
Yeah, not much to really be said about Winnipeg. I think they did lose a couple guys, and I just have a couple of question marks on that team. I don't think they're going to drastically fall off, but I think Hellebuck will have a rebound year. He can't play the amount of games that he played the last 2 seasons, though.
But is Kapanen, is he capable, really?
He needs to.
We don't really know.
He needs to. It's not a matter of like if he's capable. He needs to. They need to be able to.
There's question marks there, so I dropped in the third.
There is, but But what I'm saying is they can't have Hellebuck play like 60 games. They can't. It's going to kill him.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, third place last year, Colorado Avalanche. Just a fun fact: my second favorite team in the NHL. Ray Bourque, Joe Sakic, awesome guys. I'm
a big Nate McKinnon guy.
But if you're saying Ray Bourque,
Nate McKinnon's great.
Really, Ray Bourque for Colorado is a little bit of a stretch, but only because you're a Bruin, it's acceptable. You don't think of Colorado.
He was a big pivotal piece to why they won the cup.
I get it, but I mean, you think of Ray Bourque, Boston. Come on.
No, I also look at Peter Forsberg. I look at
they had good players. Patrik Roy. Roy.
Don't worry about it. I have that. I'm sorry. Did I say Peter Forsberg? I'm sorry, Peter Stastny. Or Paul
Forsberg too, didn't they?
Yeah, Peter Forsberg too, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, they had them.
I'm getting my Peters mixed up.
Yeah, it's not a good thing in other.
Listen. This is family. This is family friendly, Rick. Jesus Christ, you could go to church or whatever.
Why?
Because it's inappropriate. I have Colorado 4th, and I just have them there because of the defensive situation that they're in, and that they're going to run Alexander Georgiev into the ground. Yeah, I just saw your camera was upside down.
I don't know why that happened. Oh, it's still doing it.
It's still there, yeah. Oh my God, what are you on your phone? What are we doing?
No,
acid flashback. Acid flashback.
Jesus. Matt's on some psychedelics.
He's still upside down. He's in China. I think that's what happened.
Jeez. You guys always seem to have a lot to say when I'm trying to do my stuff. You are derailing my thoughts, right, buddy. Like I was about to go on a tangent. I was about to absolutely kill it, and now I'm all fucked up. I don't even know who I'm talking about anymore. Cal Makar, Colorado, Alexander Georgiev. He sucks.
Well, they got Georgiev and Justice and Noonan.
God,
now I had no idea. I wanted to say this before you continue. I had no idea who this guy is, but when I did my video about it, I saw his
dramatic pause.
What happened?
Rick, you're gonna need to repeat that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
you went
when
cut
I
it
did
out.
my video and I didn't know who this guy was, he's got good numbers. So I had actually had them lower, and when I found that out, I moved them up because of the backup. He's got really good numbers.
I just have some issues with their team, a little bit of their depth on their side, and I don't have that much faith in Gorgiev.
This has gone off the rails.
Oh my God! Can we restart? No.
I thought I had that all good.
We are 45 minutes into this thing. We are not. We move on. Cameras are falling. Cameras are
upside down.
Remember, 45
happens
minutes.
when you get
Mark that
new
one. 45 minutes.
Cows are flying. We're all over the place. There's a hurricane going on in Carolina. Everything's all fucked up. World's going to shit, and we're talking about hockey.
Content, though. This makes good content.
It's great content. We're here.
It's fantastic content.
Someone better clip it and give it to me.
I marked it. I marked it.
This shit's going on America's Funniest Home Videos. For fuck's sake, dude. What's the Canadian equivalent to that, by the way?
There is no Canadian equivalent.
Really?
I don't think there is one. I don't think we ever did anything like that.
That's kind of crazy. Like, there's no Mounties Funniest Video or something like that.
But think about it.
A guy riding a moose.
When America's Funniest Home Videos came out, Canadian TV was still a little bit back. It's not like as advanced. It wasn't as advanced as it is.
That makes
we
a lot
still
of
had
sense.
Littlest
You guys are
Hobo.
behind.
Yeah, we were behind back then. We're caught up now, but
Hey,
back
listen.
then, yeah.
Fuck you. You guys had Dudley Do Right. All right. That's what you guys had.
We had the Littlest Hobo. Check that one out.
No, I'm all set. I'm good. I'm a big Dudley guy. Big Dudley fan.
Dudley Do Right of the Canadian Mounties.
So Colorado, back to the Avalanche.
I'm just making sure. Programming.
Back to regular scheduled programming.
I'm just making sure Matt's camera is actually staying stable. Stop moving and maybe it won't shake. I have no idea.
If I do this, oh, it still stayed.
You're in Canada, you baboon.
Let
me try that.
I get. All right, let's get back to the content now.
Brought to you by GoPro.
Actually, not a GoPro.
Yeah, I don't know. I have him at 4. I don't have much faith right now.
I'm going next. You went next. I have him at 4 as well. I actually had them at 6th, and I did. Like I said, I found out I didn't know this kid at all. Never even heard of his name before. And then his numbers are pretty good. If they play Georgiev less and play this guy a little bit more, I think they can hold on to 4th. So yeah, Georgiev's a good goalie, but they play him too much. And I think in this kid, he's young. I don't. Maybe he's not that young, but must be new to the NHL. I think with the good numbers there, play him a little more, and I think they'd be fine.
Rick, before Matt goes, what's Colorado's goalie's name?
Justice Georgiev. It's Georgiev. So what? It said George.
We need a fucking button.
George.
Like that's what we need.
Before everybody knew that it was pronounced. However, it was Georgiev. And usually they're the ones who screw up all the bloody names, and now I'm doing it.
It's contagious. You're stealing my bit. Jesus Christ. Come on. All right, Matt, you can go. I needed that vindication. After you're done shitting yourself.
Oh man, I'm sorry. You gotta laugh at the old man sometimes. Anyway, no, I think Florida's a good spot for Colorado. I like Georgiev a lot, but I don't think he's as good as some of the other tandems in that division.
Well, that was good. That was kind of quick. Wow, good job, Matt. Holy crap.
Nice and short.
Wow, Alex would be proud. Thank God, dude. We would already be at like an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh yeah,
we'd be so fucked.
Jeez, yeah.
Okay, so Nashville, who finished 4th last year. By the way, big surprise last year. in making the playoffs. I really like that. I
Team's
like
gonna be
Nashville.
friggin' good, bro.
Oh,
That team's gonna be good.
They're old. They're older, but you know what? They still got something left in the tank. I am a little concerned about Stamkos, but I think he's got something left to give, and so I'm very.
No,
excited
I
to see
agree.
Nashville.
No, I agree.
He'd be fine on the wing if you ask me. You just don't play him at
he
center.
can't play center. He can't play center right
Don't
now.
play him at center.
But actually, that's my underdog team this year. I actually, and people, you might be looking at me like underdog, like they did a lot in the off season, but still, I feel like people will, undercut them because of the age. But I think they'll be a good team in that division. So
it'd be a lot of fun to watch too if they go on a deep run. You know what I mean? Like those would be fun games.
Yeah, and I love Jonathan Marchessault. I love Yossi Saros. I love Roman Yossi. It's kind of hard for me to look at that team and pick someone I hate. So
no, it really is. Like even like I've been a fan of Forsberg for a while now too. Like it's a great team to like. Like there's nothing about it that I agree that you can look at and say that like you can hate it. A lot of likable players. I think I love Barry Trotz. I've always been a fan of his. I think he's great in the front office there. It's just they're a fun team to watch. I've always loved watching them play, and it's gonna be a lot more fun to watch them this year now too.
But you got to admit, Barry Trotz kind of looks like an alien in the suit.
Don't disrespect my uncle like that.
Okay.
Montgomery is my father, and Barry Trotz is my uncle. I just have a thing for bald dudes.
Oh, that's why.
No, you're not that far behind.
That's why I'm. You shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Come
I
on.
would take my hat off to show that I'm bald, but I don't want to blind.
Thank you. No wonder why I'm here. You're bald. It's a thing in my life. It's a thing in my life, dude. I gravitate towards the bald-headed guys. I don't know what to tell you. No, I have Nashville at 3. I think Saros is a great goaltender. Wedgwood is my only question. That's really it.
No, Saros is great. I think Saros is a top goalie in this league. I think he's a lot better than Georgiev, and he's solid in that. He's got a solid defense in front of him. I think 3 is a very fair spot there. I could see an argument for 2, but I think 3 is fair. No issues there whatsoever.
Well, you mentioned 2, so Vogel has him at 2.
So do I.
How about that? You and Vogel agree.
So here's the argument for 2. Here's my argument for 2. By the way, my chat had them in 3rd.
I like your chat.
In Wedgwood, he just said you're not 100% sure. So my question is, why then would, if Wedgwood wasn't a capable backup and they didn't have confidence in him, why would they agree to trade Askarov and not bring him in? This is the question. I don't understand that move. So I figure Wedgwood.
Askarov needs to be playing regular NHL hockey. He's plenty good enough.
Yeah, but you can.
He wasn't going to get that behind Saros, and I think he knew that, and his agent knew that.
I think that's the reasoning too.
But you play him for a year as your backup, and you up his value, don't you think?
Yeah, but then you can't. It makes it more difficult because then if let's say he plays well, now you're in a situation where you have Saros and Askarov. And it puts you in. I think that actually puts you in a more difficult position because if Askarov significantly outplays Saros, you just signed Saros.
I see your point.
Right.
Okay.
No, right, Cam. I totally agree with that. I'm
okay,
of that same mindset. Absolutely.
To what extent, in moving Askarov, are they willing to go down on the talent of the backup? I gotta figure Wedgwood, and I remember he's had some good seasons, hasn't he?
He's okay. He's not. Okay. He's not someone
I think he's on a good team,
off, but he's all right.
Okay, but on a good team, he's a capable backup, right?
I agree.
And you got Yossi Saros. Yeah, no, I have them in 2nd. I think, I'm going to just stick with that and not say anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I think Saros is also a lot younger than Hellebuck too, so I think there's more potential there for Saros to get even better, which would again be part of an argument if I would have put them into 2nd over Hellebuck. I think third is a fine spot, or 2nd, either or. Don't have an issue.
So I believe Saros is 29.
Oh, yeah, he's 29.
I thought it was a little bit younger than that. That's
29.
And Hellebuck is 31. So I mean, they're not
younger.
that far apart.
I thought Saros was a little younger. I apologize.
No, I mean
he's been around for a while.
He's a little younger.
No, that is true.
And You got to look at who he played behind, too, in Pekka Rinne. And Pekka Rinne was a phenomenal goaltender for Nashville.
Yeah.
And I think also, too, if you look at it, Nashville's pushing for a cup. Barry Trotz said he went all in. And so that's him going all in, right? He got those guys, that veteran leadership. He improved the team significantly. And I think it was extremely significant. They won the offseason by all stretches of the imagination.
So let me ask you, did he make a mistake in Wedgwood then?
No, I don't think so. I think Wedgwood will suffice. And I think there'll be enough to get him in the playoffs. And I think that's just going to be their goal right now, is to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they're going to get into the playoffs healthy
Saros
and primed and ready to go. And
Saros
will play.
Saros
Yeah.
going to
Yeah,
play.
and
It's not...
I think Nashville's got a really good decor there as well. So, like, yeah, even though like Wedgwood will probably have a stinker here and there, I think the defense is good enough where they can kind of limit that.
He'll steal you a game.
That makes sense. Yeah.
He'll steal you a game. And but I can't put him or that pairing any higher than 3 just because of the 2 starters ahead of them and just how complete I think those teams are. Well, I'm sorry, with a couple question marks in Winnipeg, but Hellebuck.
I mean, Hellebuck also does have the Vezina too, so I think, yeah,
it kind of that's the separator I think between them.
Fair enough. Even if you're wrong, that's fair enough.
You're right. Is that it? Rick's right.
That's the implication. Yes.
Little R&R. Rick is right.
That's right.
What's
next?
Let's go to 5th. So St. Louis. To me, it kind of got a little bit easier.
It comes to Bennington rant.
As we didn't. No, fuck that guy, dude. He's such a piece of shit, and not because
shit. Yes,
he is. Agree. He is a big motherfucking baby, and he is an instigator. Right. He's gone up to people's faces and he's tried to hack legs. I want to fight the dude, and he's
and he's a good goalie. But if you get him pissed off, he loses his shit.
It's so easy to get under his skin.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get under his skin, and
and his backup is I'm gonna mispronounce Hofer.
Joel Hofer.
Joel Hofer. I have them at 7, just because fuck those guys. I think St. Louis is an okay team. They're definitely not the team that they were 5 years ago in any capacity. They lost Torrey Krug pretty much for the entire season, if I'm not mistaken. Not that is a huge loss, but it is a loss nonetheless. I don't think their defense is up to snuff. I think Bennington's attitude really sucks. That's going to really kill the locker room, especially when he starts losing and he can't control it. I don't think Hofer has proven anything yet. So until proven otherwise, they're 7 for me.
I have them at 7th as well. My chat had them at 6th. Jordan Binnington, who is a piece of shit, had the talent level of a goalie from my day, who was also known to be a really big piece of shit, Tom Barrasso. If Binnington had that talent level, you could
probably... Tom Barrasso.
Yeah.
Wait, Rick, sorry to interrupt you, but Tom Barrasso, asshole is in the name.
There you go.
But the guy was good, and so he kind of overlooked some of his assholeness till later in his career. With Binnington, not good enough to overlook the fact that he's just a huge asshole. He's so sensitive, right? He can't handle shit. If shit happens, he gets mad and whatever. So just because of that, I don't care if they're better or whatever in 7th, and I would have put them in 8th, except there's a team that is worse than them. So
before Matt goes, I want to mention this about Bennington. As much as he whines, gripes, and pisses and moans like a little fucking baby that he is, his record after a loss is nuts. Like he pisses, whines, and moans, but he grounds himself back and then comes back and wins the game. I don't know how he does it.
I hate him even more.
I do. He's a little whiny bitch boy. All right, let's go.
Matt.
Let's go, Matt. Give it to me. Where do you have him? Better be.
I'm with you guys. I think 7 is a fair spot for him. Like I don't think the talent's there, and Binnington's attitude just compounds that. Don't like the defense in front of him. It's just not a good tandem. And Binnington does have his cup, but I think a lot of that.
Bennington didn't win them the cup. It was the defense.
Well, I was gonna say a lot of that had to do with the defense in front of them and just the veteran presence on that team. But yeah, Bennington's fallen off a lot, and his attitude doesn't help his cause.
Sure. Sixth place last year was the Minnesota Wild. Before we even get into the goalie tandems, they're so fucked for salary cap, it's not even funny. They're still paying, I think this is the last year they have to pay $14 million to both Zach Parise and Ryan Sutter.
Correct.
Yeah, I think it is the last year, yeah.
Which,
can you believe that, though? They're
God.
still paying them. Like, what?
Well, because the ownership thought it would be a good idea to buy them out. I'm like, dude, but that's going to screw you over. Just find a way to get rid of the contract. And I mean, I'm pretty sure every player on that team is licking their chops in a contract year when they're just like, hey, now that $14 million is free, I want money. And not to mention, they're going to be
We've been waiting,
seething at the mouth, waiting for that.
We've been waiting for our money. Now we got it.
They're going to have a hell of a time when it comes to signing some of their players.
I would think.
Minnesota, though, they have Marc-Andre Fleury, the flower dude, 3-time Stanley Cup champion. Probably one of the best goalies of our generation that we've got to watch. He's a stand-up guy. I mean, I might have a crush on him. But
there's a lot of guys you have a crush on, Cam.
Listen, man. It's Monday. Everyone has a man crush Monday. Mine just so happens to change.
Monday. Hey, mine
just so happens to change very, very frequently and probably by the hour. But he's not bald, so there's no chance. And he has Gustafsson to back him up. I think they're a decent tandem. I think it's they both work off of each other well. The question mark is the team in front of them. I have them at 5, actually.
Go ahead,
just for all the reasons that I've stated.
Who's the? You're gonna have to remind. Who's the tandem again there?
Marc-Andre Fleury and
Fleury's still there. I thought he was retiring last year.
No, this is his last year.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think the 5 spot's fair. I don't know how much Fleury's got left in the tank, but I do think he's one of the best goalies that I've ever watched play the game. But again, he's up there now. I don't know what he's got left in the tank. And Forsberg's kind of Mets of Mets. He's not bad, but again, compared to what some of the other teams in the division have, I can't put them any higher than 5.
I have them at 6th. But I have to say, the team I had in 5th and Colorado and Minnesota, I kind of shifted them around. I think those 3 teams could finish in any order of 4th, 5th, and 6th, to be honest with you. So, Marc-Andre Fleury. I've never been a big Fleury fan, particularly because we had Carey Price. I didn't have to look at any other goalie and go, oh, I like that goalie. We had Carey Price. That's enough. So that's one of the reasons. I admit he's a good goalie. Gustafsson, I believe, had a good season too last year. Like, he's a decent backup. So depending on Fleury's season, right? It's his last season. It might not be the best season, of his, obviously, right? He could have actually not a great season. I don't know. That's the question mark. I dropped him into 6th. That's my reasoning.
Yeah, I think you're the only one that has them at 6. Vogel agrees with us at 5, and I think it's probably for the same reason. I think you just have to respect Fleury having 3 Stanley Cups and still continuing to play at the level that he has played. Especially after leaving the Penguins, going to Vegas, then going to Chicago. By the way, what a horrible mess that was. How we found out he was traded to Chicago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And then to Minnesota. So. He didn't play for, out of the 2 of the 4 teams he played, they weren't spectacular teams because Minnesota are the Leafs of the West. So I don't know. But
I don't have to love them for that reason.
No,
And hey, just because I'm the only one who was right, I have no problem with that.
Rick is right. Get a little R&R, baby. Get a little R&R.
That's right.
7th place team, the formerly known Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah Hockey Club. they're 6 for me. They have Ingram
Connor Ingram and Carl Vejmelka.
Is it Jamelka? I thought it was Jamelka.
Vejmelka.
Oh, you're making me crazy.
But the J's kind of.
Sorry, I need a buzzer. I need a buzzer. Yeah, I think Utah improved. I think because the goalies are of similar age, I don't think either of them have emerged to be a true number one. So I think they're just two decent backups.
I think Connor Ingram's on that track, though.
I think
Connor Ingram's a good goalie.
Bad.
Yeah, he is. I don't
Connor
think
Ingram's a good goalie.
But I don't think he's like it fully emerged yet.
Right.
And I think this might be a breakout year for him. So that's I have him at 6 just because of that question mark. And it's only because of that question mark that I don't know for certain, because that team has changed its identity significantly this offseason. I actually think that they probably did the second or third best offseason, especially with acquiring Mikhail Sergachev. So I think they did a good job.
It was such a good trade. I love that trade so much for Utah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It's especially good for an area where you're going to try and grow the game. And so I think that's good. But until those question marks are kind of, answered, I can't put them any higher than 6. But I definitely think they're better than the 2 teams that are below them, one being St. Louis.
Matt, you go.
Yeah, no, I'm with Cam there. I think that's totally fair. I think you said it beautifully.
All right, then it's me. Connor Ingram is a good goalie. I've got him at 5th because I think that he is better. I think, you know what? I think Vejmelka's not bad, and it's a better defense in front, a better team, and a better atmosphere for these players as well. I think you're going to see. Yeah, I think you're going to see them step up. And, I had Ingram. I think I had him last year in the fantasy. He's good, and he put up his numbers. So, I have him at 5th. Vejmelka, I remember from Ottawa. He got out of there, and I think he went to Arizona. And he did really decently there. So, good backup or decent backup, good number one goalie who's going to grab that number one job this season. And there you go. That's all I got to say. I can't babble any more than that. I know you want me to, but I just can't.
Well, Rick, you're just right all the time, baby. So it's like, that's what it is.
Right on, baby.
Yeah, there we go. And Vogel had them at 7. I think that's too low. I think that's not giving enough respect to the team that they've transformed into. I think now that they're going to be in an organization that cares about them, and actual growth and development of the game in that area of which they're playing, I think Vogel kind of put them a little too low on the list. That leaves one team left, the 8th place team in Chicago last year. Their goalie tandem is Peter Mrazek and Laurent Brossoit.
Brossoit.
Yeah, that's what I said. Laurent Brossoit.
You said Laurent. You said Laurent. It's
Laurent.
Laurent Brossoit.
Laurent Brisket.
There you go.
There, was that close?
Laurent Biscuit.
Laurent Biscuit.
Is he gonna stop the biscuit or what?
He's dude. I don't know. The other player's got to put the biscuit in the oven, cook at 350.
There you go.
I have him at 8th. It's
I think we all
surprise.
do.
I think we all do. I don't think it's a surprise as to why Chicago has a lot of work to do on the defensive side of things. I think they need to find a way out of that awful Seth Jones contract. They have a lot of work. So I thought their rebuild was going to be a lot faster, but San Jose is speeding theirs up a lot faster than what Chicago is.
Yeah, but I mean, Chicago's going along decently. Mrazek is very up and down.
Yep.
So, I think that Brossoit, his numbers aren't bad. You look at his numbers and it's not that bad. So, I still don't think that's going to help Chicago. If Chicago was a better team all around, these guys could be higher up as a tandem, but I don't think on this team. I'm not going
to get much of disagreement from me from there. Matt.
I had my mic muted. Talking
to himself.
I agree.
Hopefully that's all he was doing too.
Jesus.
I think that's a fair spot for Chicago. no arguments for me.
It kind of sucks though when you think about it, right? That's an original 6 team, a good team that dominated the 2010s. You know, it sucks to see them fall so far from grace.
It's a rebuild, dude. It's a rebuild.
It is. It is. It sucks. I mean, especially like how they couldn't get anything from Patty Kane. They lost to Brinkett. They traded away. Oh goodness, it was a guy that Brendan Hagel. They got rid of him. They kind of they were just kind of like filling in lines there. They lost a lot of guys in that they couldn't get return for. So it was very unfortunate, especially Jonathan Toews too. So it sucked to see them all kind of just leave.
You say it sucks, but I mean, not really anymore, because with the salary cap system, there's no choice really. At some point, you got to rebuild, and you know what? The smarter teams don't wait too long to rebuild when you need to. And it's not a thing to even have pity or whatever. It's a part of the system. It's the circle of life in the NHL, right?
I think their forward group got a lot better this offseason. Like, the additions of Tyler Bertuzzi is just being one guy. Like, if Taylor Hall can remain healthy, that's a good guy to have on there. I think they were focusing on getting guys around Connor Bedard that can help him.
They named a captain who you really like.
Dude, Fliggy, don't get me started. I love that guy. When he left Boston, I was so upset because he was just a genuinely like good guy. Like, you could just tell he was here for the fans. He loves the city. He loves the environment. He's a big locker room presence. He's just a guy that you have a hard time hating.
Sounds like a kind of guy who would get named captain on a young team like this.
And he's bald, dude. So I'm all for
man, that's it. Over the top.
That's it, guys. It sets me over there. Trust me, if they ever listen to this, don't worry, guys. I'm not far behind you. We can start a club. We'll be like the Bald Gang. I don't even know what we can call it. I'll come up with a creative name and we'll
Bald Gang.
Yep. I don't know, but that kind of wraps it up. But the cool news is though, we have a new logo.
We do.
I have it.
We do.
You want me to show it?
We have a nasty new logo.
That's for the channel.
Yes, that is. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new logo. Go on our YouTube and kind of check it out. Let us know what your thoughts are. This art actually is credited to a Mr. Ryan Caravan of Ryan Caravan Art on Instagram. So check him out on there. Do him a very huge solid. He spent a lot of time on this. So huge credits to him. He also
I put the black circle around it. Do I get credit?
No, Rick. What are we doing?
Oh, okay.
Good job, Rick. You added a circle.
Thank you.
I can draw a square too. That doesn't make me special. He does do some freelance work. He does do tattoo arts as well. So, hit him up if you guys like the artwork. He's a good guy to work with. And we love working with him. And also like and subscribe us.
We appreciate that. And those are the other 2 podcasts on this channel. So you can check those out.
Yeah, don't forget to check out the latest episode of Hibernation and the latest episode of Flyer Gonna Flyer, guys. Listen, we're getting really close to the season, guys, and I don't know about you guys, but I am fucking amped up. Hockey is back. Preseason, started in full swing. It's gonna close pretty soon, and we're gonna get right to it in the season. I can't wait to put out some content with you guys. So. Hopefully everyone in the audience is just as jazzed up as we are. Just remember, hockey is fucking back, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Woo!
Woo! I never did that well.
And
I never did it good.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for episode 41.
41.
You'll have a good. I said that. I said 41.
Oh, okay.
I had a good listen, whatever your name is, Rick. I'm having a good day. We already talked about this. Let's get out of this, bitch. Everybody, have a good night. We're looking forward to
have a good one. See you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching Pucking Around. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know you're rooting for us, but now it's time to go.